to income.
This meeting is being recorded.
Productivity leads to income. So at the top of your notes, I just want you guys to write this down. I need to do more IPAs. I need more IPAs. I need more IPAs. I need more income producing activities. As a collective, we can all improve in that area, right? But now we transition from week 1 to now week 2. If you guys know what week 2 is, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. If you guys know what week 2 is all about, drop it in the chat. Sheesh, we almost got 20,000 on this focus group call. Amazing. If we could get some cameras on, I appreciate that as well too, family. How to tell your story, establishing your story, right? Your story. And one thing I want you guys to understand about your story is that it matters, right? What you show people, what you tell people, it matters. How people see you, it matters. How you see yourself matters. In week 2, this is what it's all about. So I was just, when this whole focus group thing got set up, I said, listen, I can do the focus group by myself, but what value would that essentially bring to you? Because as a leader, I'm just being honest with you guys. We understand our voices become void sometimes. Not that they're not important, that they just become void. So I said, I have to put somebody in front of you guys that I know will bring value on how to establish your story. If this is something that you are still working on right now inside of this business or essentially inside of your own personal life, drop a 2 in the chat. If you're still learning how to tell your story to somebody, drop a 2 in the chat. I'm gonna drop a 2 myself because I got a very good story. You know, 2019 I became a dad. 2020 got affected by COVID. 2020 went all into the business. Right? Y'all know the story, but I can still improve on how I express that, right? To relate to more people so they can understand my story and I can understand theirs. But without further ado, I want to bring somebody to the stage. Can we get some drum rolls in the chat, please? Because this is not regular. If right now you're driving, you might want to pull over, right? And just take notes in your phone if you don't have a notebook in your car. Because this individual, ever since me and her started working together, yeah, Ron, just go crazy. Don't stop, bro. Don't stop until I say her name. Right? But ever since me and this individual started working together, my life has completely changed. My view on this business has changed. My success in the business has changed. My trading results have changed. My building my confidence in the business has changed, fam. And establishing your story is one thing that I know that she can do very, very well and effective. So I want to bring to you guys the one and only Miss the Tia Bolden.
Wow. Can we drop some sevens in the chat box for Z? It's not normal, and it's not every day we get on a call together. So it really is. I love doing calls. He said he loves doing calls with me. I love doing calls with Z. And, I'm an intentional person, but Z, I reached in my bag for this training. Like, y'all know how there's trainings that I do well. Like, drop a one if you know I can train pretty well. Like, I can put some slides together. I can train. But storytelling is one of those trainings that I get in my bag. Like, I reach in my bag. Like, I reach in my bag for storytelling. Like, it's not one of those. And I'll be honest with you all. When I first learned about storytelling, this was back in 2000, probably 21. I was at an Eric Worre network marketing event. And when I saw it on the schedule, I said, storytelling. I'm like, why do I need to know storytelling? And drop on a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you all think storytelling is? Be honest, because at that event, I thought it was about a 4. I looked at the itinerary. I said, I got to sit in this one. I gotta go to this. You know how you look at the lineup and you be like, all right, I gotta hear him speak. I gotta stop by Matt Rosa. I gotta be there when Nano's talking. But some people you'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom then. I'm gonna take my pictures then. Like you know how you pick and choose. I thought storytelling was like a 4. All right, y'all saying 7, 8. Okay, y'all that's because Z just edified storytelling. All right. 7 and 8 is good. I thought it was like a 4. I was like, who cares about telling stories? Like, I want to get to the bag. I want to get to the bread. Like, is the bread in the story? Like, what is it? A story bread? Like, is there a loaf in the stories? Because if not, for what? And that might have been the most ignorant thing I ever thought in this industry. And I'll be honest with you all. If y'all knew me before I became developed, before I grew as a person, y'all probably wouldn't be studying me as a leader. Drop a one if you can understand. If y'all knew me before I started reading more, learning more, getting closer to God, y'all would have been like, who is this girl? Why is she yelling? Who put her in front of me? There's been a lot of growth along this journey, and people like Zion make this worthwhile. Drop a two if you understand there's important having somebody that drives your accountability. Zion is like, he's like an alternator in a car. You can run, but the alternator run out. Yep, you on the side of the road. You're waiting. You're looking left and right like, oh my goodness, what's next? And Zion he's so tact of a leader. He keeps me in phase one. When I first met him, he said, yes, sis, I can run. I just don't have a system that I'm confident in. And something in my mind said, wait, you mean to tell me all you need is a system to run? I said, I can do that. I can make a little document. I can put some things together. We might be able to make this thing work. And for some of us, you just have to find out what that one thing is that you need for you to take things next level. So drop a three if you're thankful for this focus group. Z, thank you for having me. I know you could have picked a million leaders in the world, but you picked a good one in me because this is one of my trainings. Like, I have trainings, but this is one of my trainings. So I really am digging deep in my bag to give this to you all. And I just want to first say thank you all for being here. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Jarnika. Thank you, TB. Thank you, Jen. What's up, my sis? Thank you, Mimi. Thank you, Sasha. It's a lot of ladies on here. I like this. Can we get some crowds in the chat box for the ladies? I'm gonna get a guy, y'all. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, Ron. What's the word? Thank you, John. Oh, love, but it's a lot of things on here. I like this. I like this. Y'all need to, ladies, between me and y'all guys, just mute me real quick. Y'all need to pass Ron and Zion up. Pass them. Like, y'all need to go diamond before Ron and titanium before Z. It's possible. You can pass your mentor. Trust me. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have a little ladies private call. Anyway, let's get back to the storytelling. Don't get me started today. But one thing that's really important, I want you all to make sure you never take lightly the value and the access that you have in Zion. Don't ever let it be a situation where you say, oh, it's just Z. Oh, we got a call with Z. Please don't ever take that lightly. Drop a one if you understand. There are people in this industry begging for their mentors to do a call with them, begging to get on a leadership training, begging to have a one-on-one conversation. There are some people, when they get started, their leaders send them to mark a set up, go live, and say, best of luck, build a business. They don't have focus groups. They don't have leadership society. They don't have one-on-one calls. They don't have this personal mentorship. It's not normal. Sometimes I just wish we could have like a day in the life of other people's organizations. It's not regular. Even yesterday, Super Saturday, I'm not gonna throw no shade, but we are the value. We are the value. Drop a 7 if you understand. We are the value. That's all I'm saying. We are the value. Okay. So please don't ever take Zion lightly. If you can just promise me that no matter what happens, where this industry goes, you'll always appreciate a leader who is here for you and putting things in place for you. Please drop me a 7. Z, we love you. Hearts in the chat box for Z. He doesn't have to do this. He can say, yo, I get my check. I get $1,000 every Friday. I'm good off this. But he puts this in place to make sure we're good. That's a huge deal. All right, so I want to talk to y'all about storytelling, but y'all got to promise me. I'm actually a little under the weather. I don't know if y'all can hear it. I'm a little under the weather, but when the original Star Diamond calls and says he needs a training, guess what you do? You do the training. I'm going to take my NyQuil after. But we're going to get through the training. If I cough a little bit, it's just because I've been traveling somewhere between the jet lag and the who knows what in these different cities and temperatures. It's just been a lot. But we're going to push through. Can we get some prayer hands in the chat box for pushing through? Can you all see my screen? Drop a prayer hand if you can see my screen. Today, we're going to talk about establishing the story. Write that at the top of your paper, establishing the story. Focus group week 2, DT Bolden and Zion Latham. We're going to talk about establishing the story. And I'll tell you all a secret. If you knew the power behind your story, I promise you, you would tell it more. Drop a 2 if you can agree with that. If you knew the power behind your story, you would tell it so much more. You would let it be known. You would speak about it every time you talk to somebody. Every time somebody asks you, what do you do? What are you a part of? You would be running it off like the back of your hand if you knew the power of your story. When I first heard this training, I didn't even know my story was important. I was like, a story? I thought storytelling was I thought it was pointless. I'm like, what am I telling my story for? And storytelling might be the one thing that shifted my confidence in this entire industry. Drop a 3 if you know you could use a little bit more confidence in what we have our hands on. You owning your story can take your confidence higher than ever before. So for my ladies who feel like, oh, I don't know enough, I don't have enough, I haven't been doing it long enough, I'm not experienced enough, just own your story, sweetheart. Trust me. Once you own where you come from and where you're going, you won't give a blank about what nobody else got to say about it. And I promise y'all that. My story had me, y'all know I've always had a little swag about me. But my story had me walking in the room. I said, I'm here. It's me. Hello. Welcome. Like, your story will have you walking with a different type of swag. And I'm excited to see this on every single one of you all. The first thing I want you all to write down: facts tell, stories sell. Write that down on paper. If you ask somebody right now, oh, what's the greatest thing about Eobia? What do you all have that brings to the table? And you started telling, well, we have these AI scanners that push out 97% of results and da da da. They will hear you. But if you tell them, well, I actually have a young lady, she's a single mom and she doesn't have much free time, but she's able to put in these copy paste trades from her phone and make money to put food on her son's table. Drop a 3 if you understand that story is what's going to hit people where they feel it. That story is what's going to change the game. Facts tell, stories sell. You can tell them all them numbers all day long. It's great. But you need to start telling some stories. Y'all ever realize some of the best motivational speakers, some of the best public speakers are the best storytellers? Y'all know a man named J.O., Justin Owens? What is J.O. the best at? Talk to me in the chat. What does he do the absolute best? That man can tell a story. He had me glued in. Y'all ever heard what is the story when the man was driving in the rain? That man can tell a story. Hospital bed. Nothing but stories. If you want to be an incredible speaker, orator, anything in this business, you got to learn how to tell some stories. And once you learn how to tell stories, you'll become unstoppable because you can answer anything with a story. Does this make sense? Drop me through this making sense so far. I'm like, oh, maybe this is a good training. Okay, week 2. All right. I may have needed this. Okay. There's a special book I like to read. I know somebody said they were at church today. What book do we read at church? Talk to me. What book do we utilize as our instructions? Anybody? Come on. Talk to me, Mimi. Okay, Mike. Come on. John 3:16. Y'all know what the Bible is a book full of? Come on. Look at Ron. I just talked about this last week at Bible study. The Bible is a book of what? Stories. So if our Creator is utilizing stories to help us navigate through life, why don't we just do the same to help people navigate this industry? See, I have my bag for this one. My bag. So let's talk about the power of storytelling. You see 2 people on the screen you might know. I only put this picture because it looked like Mike was telling Z a story here. But the power of storytelling. Okay, this is when you start taking notes, start writing this down. You all ever realize if you have kids, drop a 1 if you have children in the chat box. You got kids, you got little ones, nieces, nephews. Where my aunties at? My TTs. Okay, my TTs, my mamas, my B. Hey. Okay, anyways. All of my parents here, when you put your kids to bed at night, do they ask you if the trades hit TP? Do they ask you to teach them a lesson about the charts? Do they ask you to show them where the market went today? No. They ask to be told a story. Stay with me. The power of storytelling, it makes you relatable. It bridges the gap between you and the people that you want to understand your message. So whenever you get on a call and you feel like you're just not resonating with a speaker, it's probably because they didn't tell enough stories. Facts tell, stories sell. Drop a 1 if you understand there's a big difference in introducing yourself versus telling your story. You can say all day, my name is this, I'm that. You start telling your story, you can now build connection. You can bridge trust and you can create belief. That's the identity behind your story. Development. People will understand better about your brand when they know your story. Drop 1 if you understand people aren't joining what you're doing, they're joining why you're doing it. Y'all know that? People don't really join Eobia, Alpha, Fire. They join the reason that you got hooked. They joined the reason why you got involved. I had about 4 top leaders from other countries hit me up yesterday saying, well, that close you did yesterday, if y'all haven't listened to the close I did yesterday, it's on Samaya's page. And I'm wondering to myself, what made this close so powerful? And it's because I told people why I did this. I told people what made this my decision. I told people why this was important. I didn't really talk about too much the products. These people probably don't even know what bundle they got when they started. But they know they're doing it because I did it. And literally sometimes that's enough. People are more attracted to why you're doing what you're doing than what it is that you're doing. Drop a 4 if this makes sense. We're going to get into it. I want to show you all an example of my story. Is that okay? Can I show you all an example of my story? Before we do this, let me tell you all when you know a story is effective. When you know a leader's story is effective, other people can tell it before they do. Drop me in the chat box some components of Zion's story. Talk to me in the chat. Any component that you know, drop me some things about Z's story. Let me know. I'll give you all a moment to drop some. Drop me some things. He's a father. Talk to me. Just had a kid. Okay. 2020 lost his job. Got hit with COVID. Okay. Wow. Look at y'all. Talk to me. Got hit with COVID. Talk to me. What else? Tell me some things about Z's story. We all in 2021. Okay. Doing it because of his mom and his dad. Talk to me. Come on, keep it coming. He needed money, don't we all? Keep it coming. Man of God. Amen. The original Star Diamond don't play. Keep it coming. What else? His dad, who? Better than him? Sacrifice all for his kid. Talk to me. Come on, y'all gotta know some more about Z's story. Tell me some more. Sold shoes to get in the room. Good gracious, that's powerful. Talk to me. This is how you know that Zion effectively tells his story. The people around you should be able to speak on your story, whether you're there or not. Ask yourself, can your organization tell your story right now? Y'all know, it's so funny. I was in the room yesterday. I said, what's up, everybody? My name is Tia Bolden. I'm known in the industry as, and they said the, before I could even say my name. I said, whoa. I said, okay. I said, I'm known in this business for retiring from, they said, NASA. I said, oh, no. I said, y'all are creepy. I said, okay, I walked away at age, they said 24. I said, all right, okay, that's enough. If y'all want to do this, y'all can. But it just showed me that I tell my story so much that people can rat it off to me. Y'all know there's people in this industry that think I'm 24 years old. I just let them think it. I don't have time to correct people. I just be like, yeah, of course, of course. Literally, I looked at Mark. I said, when I started in this business, I was making how much a day? He said $8. It's crazy. You tell your story so much, people will start to know your story. If I was walking in a room right now, I could say, yeah, there's a young kid from New York. He was playing baseball. He hurt his shoulder and he needed another way out. He thought that was going to be his end all be all. Then he realized he needed something different. He'd be like, yo, she's talking about Nano. Duh. Because I know his story. You want to tell your story so much that people know your story before they hear your name. Does that make sense? That's how much you want to tell your story. So I'm going to show you all my story. I'll let you all pick. Do y'all want to hear my 2021 story or my 2025 story? My 2021 story, it has the old company name, so I don't know how far y'all want to go. Y'all want to hear the 2025 one? Y'all let me know. 2025, Nia said 20. Oh, y'all want the new version, huh? Look, Z, they said they ain't got time for the outdated stuff. They said it's a whole lot of new money though. All right, Nia's like, yeah, give us the new. Thanks. All right, I'm gonna let you all watch my story really quickly. Then I'm gonna teach you how to tell yours. Drop a 7 if that makes sense. Anything that was unclear, ask me in the chat box, and we will go from there. Y'all here? My name is Tia Bolden, known in the business and entrepreneurship world as the Tia Bolden. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I took the traditional route, went to school, majored in electrical engineering. And ironically, I have 2 degrees, a bachelor's and a master's in electrical engineering. While I was completing my master's, I secured a full-time manufacturing engineering position at NASA, the space place. While I was there, I met some amazing people. I made some great memories. But one thing that concerned me was that I had family and friends back home who meant the most to me. Why were those the people I was spending the least of my time with? At some point, I started to get tired of the rat race. It was in these moments that I started to realize that in order for something to change inside of my life, I have to change something inside of my life. And I went to my NASA computer. I began typing in how to make blank amount by blank age. And I stumbled across the largest online educational platform for digital success. I looked deeper into it, dove in. And exactly 2 years later, I utilized the education to walk away from a full-time NASA engineering career to become a full-time entrepreneur. I started to receive inspirational texts on the same phone that they said I couldn't be on at my desk. Every day I get to utilize my platform to create stories like this and people like you. That's my passion. That's my purpose. Because education will make you rich. Execution is what's going to make you wealthy. Woo! Drop me some words for how that made you feel. Drop me some words for how that made you feel. Do you feel a little bit closer to me now? You feel like we locked in, ain't no switching up now? We can go to the cookout now? Motivated? Talk to me. How did the story make you feel? Motivational? Yes. Fire, fire, fire. Inspired. We definitely locked in, but you knew that though, Sasha. But you knew that. And the biggest thing about your story is that now people know that there's somewhere inside of your story that they can relate to, whether it's you, whether it's their parents, whether it's somebody else. People can now feel inspired because they know your story. Okay. So what I want to teach you all next is how to tell your story. Drop a 4 if I can teach you all the breakdown of how to tell your story. But y'all got to promise me, if I give y'all this, are y'all going to give it back to me? If I give y'all a storytelling blueprint, I don't know, Z, if I give it to them, are they going to give it back to me? Am I going to get some stories? Am I gonna hear? Am I? Don't have me out here giving the blueprint in vain. I'm spiritual. My living is not in vain. So I need to know that when I give y'all these 4 points, y'all gonna come back to me, drop a 4. I don't see enough 4s. Look, some of y'all like, come on, I'm gonna give it back. Y'all ain't even give your homeboy money back when you borrowed it. Are you gonna give it back? Talk to me. Okay, I see some 4s. Okay. All right, we got some Wendy's meals in the chat box. All right, the 4 components of your story. Stick with me. We're going to break these down right now together. 4 parts of your story. Don't start writing them just yet. I'm going to give you all 5 minutes to write them. First, I want you to understand each part. So write down each one, and I'm going to give you what should go within each part, okay? First is the background. Where were you before you found Eobia? What were you doing before this? What was your previous story? Share things about your life, your occupation, your hobbies, your mindset. Things like Life Thing Z was a father. Ron is a father. Nia is a photographer. What are some things about you that you have going on or that you had going on before you started doing this? What are some things you were facing inside of that time? Tell me a little bit about your background. Tell me a little bit about you so that I can get to know you just a little bit better. That is the first component of your storytelling. Okay, that is the first component of the background. This gives people a little bit of a glimpse of who you are before they really know what this has done for you. Where were you before this got started? Okay, drop a 1 if that makes sense. I'll give y'all a moment to write that down. No big rush. I want to make sure that everybody has everything they need. And again, you don't have to fill it in just yet. I allocated time later down the line for you all to actually fill these in. But for right now, I just want you to know each component. Okay, so for me, my background, my name is T. Bolden. I'm 29 years old. I was born on the east side of Atlanta, Georgia. If you know, you know. I grew up in a 4-parent household, my mom, my dad, and my little sister. I studied engineering. Okay, does this make sense? Drop a 1 if you can kind of understand a little bit about the background. Okay. Good. All right, perfect. So second, we're going to go to discovery. And discovery is a really huge point. Okay, discovery is where you start to get a little bit more in depth in the story. It's when you start to expound a little bit. You start to open the door and let people know a little bit about you. Okay, how did you find out about Eobia? Okay, a lot of us found this when we were looking for something, but some people, you weren't looking for anything at all. It just stumbled upon you. You want to use words like, I was looking for something to help me blank. I stumbled upon this. I was looking for something to help me generate extra income. I was looking for a way to, I don't know, do something in my spare time. I always use this. I was looking for a way to make extra money without having to clock in while I was in grad school. Literally. I was a full-time grad school student and my classes were hard. I said, if I can just find something to do to make some extra money without clocking in around my schedule, I'll do it. This is your discovery. What helped you discover this? This is you kind of get to start speaking about what opened your mind to this. You can even go over who introduced it to you. The person who told me about this isn't doing it anymore, but they opened the door for me to become a little bit greater. This is when you start giving people a little bit of a visual, a little bit of an insight to how you got in position. Another thing to talk about in discovery is what made you say yes. I always tell people, I said, I did this because I saw people who knew less than me making more than me. So I said, why not me? Everybody say, why not me? Literally, this is how I tell my story. like you'd be surprised. I'll be telling my story and people don't even know I'm telling my story. They think I'm speaking. I'm just telling my story. What were you searching for when you did find this? What were you avoiding when you found this? I was tired of doing things the way I used to do them, and I just needed something different. This is where you really get into it inside of that discovery. All right, if discovery makes sense, drop a 2. And again, don't fill it in right now. Just write down what each part covers. I'm going to give you all time to go into it. Okay, good 2s. Good. I'm liking this. All right. Number 3, and this is where you start really getting into it, okay? Listen to me closely. Number 3 is where you begin to expound on your current situation, okay? This is where you start telling people what needed to change, okay? This is when you start going a little bit deeper into where you are now, okay? The beauty of this, and I'll tell you all, the most powerful part of where you are now, you don't have to be a perfect person. You don't have to be some $1 million this, $1 billion that. You can simply be yourself. Okay, write this down. People are more likely to relate to your progression than your perfection. Okay, if you want to, don't let me mess up this quote. If you want to impress people, you tell them how you won. If you want to inspire people, you tell them how you failed. Yeah, pull that one out of the bag. Okay, so when you're going into your current situation, be honest about where you are right now. Be honest about what's currently taking place, because this is where you get into what had to change. So you notice in my story, I said, and I started working full-time at the largest engineering company in the United States, better known as NASA. And I never speak on NASA. I don't have anything bad to say about the corporation, but I had a slight issue with having family and friends who meant the most to me, and those being the people I spent the least of my time with. So that was my current situation, but I'm telling you what needed to change. So here's where I am, but this is what needed to shift and why I had to do this. Does that make sense? Current situation. Yes, I'll repeat the quote. People are more likely to relate to your progression than your perfection. If you want to impress people, you tell them how you win. If you want to inspire people, you tell them how you lost. Does that make sense? Everything makes sense for number 3, your current situation. And I'll tell you all, number 3, it really has to be the part where you really got to stick it on number 3, because that's what's going to really hold in their mind. That pain point of what had to change. Z said, I had my son and COVID hit. His life was never the same. Something had to shift. That current situation part, that's when you're telling them, here's how things are looking, but I'm not going to be doing this much longer. Here's how things are, but this won't be my reality forever. That's when you start really making it make sense. Because everybody has a pain point. Drop a 3 if you understand. Everybody has a pain point. Everybody has something that's like, woo, yeah, I had a good day, but I sure could have not seen that alert about rent being due tomorrow. Yeah, the day was great, but I sure could have. Like, everybody has a pain point. So you telling yours helps people relate to you a little bit better. I tell people all the time. I had coworkers. I said, why is it I'm spending all my time with these folks I barely even like? And I got family at home that I love that I can barely see. That was my biggest pain point at the time. I was missing my sister's graduation, my parents' acknowledgement ceremonies. I was missing baby showers. I said, wait a minute. I want to spend time with my people. That was my pain point. So I expound on it every single time I tell my story. I don't want to seem too perfect. I don't want people to hold on to the 2 degrees and the NASA career. That was great. But even in the midst of my great, there was still something I needed to change. Find that pain point. That's the part you really have got to hold on to, because everybody has one. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Last part. The last component of your story. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything. We're doing good. Number 3. Okay. The final point is number 4, your future plans. What have you learned since you've been a part of Eovia? What's shifting for you since you made this decision? Where are you headed now that you've taken full advantage of this? When you get to number 4, you got to start talking hot. You got to start speaking like, yeah, and before that's who I used to be, but this is who I'm going to be. Every day I'm in search of my higher self. I know that it's not what I make, it's who I become. And I know for a fact that I'm becoming exactly who God called me to be because of this decision that I made. You got to start really like speaking highly of where things are going when you get to number 4. You have to describe the future as if it's already here. I'm already the change in my bloodline. I'm already the shift that my last name needed. I'm already the reason that my grandkids are looking back, smiling in the history books, because I made this decision a couple of years ago. Number 4 is where you really tell people that this is for you, why it's for you, and why this is going to be for them as well. I won't say it's the most important, but it's a very crucial part. You have to body that component of your story so people can believe and feel exactly where you're going. 98% of the world lacks direction and doesn't know why they're getting out of bed every single day. So you having direction already sets you apart from the rest of the world. Okay? Where do you see this going for you? Be specific, be vivid. Tell them in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be here doing this, saying that because of this. Be specific as you like. Speak life into yourself. This is the future component of where this is going to take you. This is where I already am right now, and time is just catching up. I hope that you can be a part of it and see the journey with me. That's number 4. Drop a 4 if the 4 parts of your story make sense. I just wanted you all to get the framework and the understanding of each part. If you have any questions on the 4 parts of your story, I'm going to give us all 5 minutes just to go a little bit deeper into writing out our parts of each one. But do you all have an understanding of each one? Any questions? Please, please, please. It's a good time to ask questions. Any parts that y'all need reiterated? Any parts that may not be clear? Okay. We're good here. Do y'all need any examples of mine from the 4 components? Are you good? Gucci? Good? Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do next, but I just want y'all to know, when I say future plans, I do always say, this business took me from being a hidden figure to making figures that are no longer so hidden. Okay, I just had to tell y'all that. All right, so next I'm gonna let y'all write y'all story. And I'm gonna give you all 5 minutes just to write it out, put it on paper. It can be as long as you want it to be. Go expansive on each component. We're gonna do 5 minutes total, and then we're gonna come back here. Once you finish it, drop a 7 in the chat box. I'm gonna give you all a moment. I think I have a timer here. Yep, I do. And I got some music for you all. If you're ready, drop me a 3. I got a song for you all. Y'all know I love a good song. Let's see. I bet y'all don't even know this song.
Hey there, friend. If you're watching this video, it's because you want to connect.
YouTube ads just be so rude, disrespectful. All right, here we go. So we're gonna get into it, and I'll let you all start your stories right now.
From that Chi-Town.
Here we go.
Yeah. This is my story. Yeah, I'm from that Chi-Town dirt. I went from being broke to sleeping in Versace shirts. Yeah. This is my story. Money, cars, bad. Oh, this is my story. And I'm sticking to it. 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 Anytime. Came from humble beginnings. Now I'm cocky with my spending. They say life is just a game. And I thank God that I'm winning. Models roll my endo. I beat the piece of Django. Dips again, talking. I got more digits in my gate code. She make a pole disappear like hocus pocus. You ain't never gonna find another nigga that's focused. I got every block, every street, corner, sold up. Whatever club represent my city, door. I own the game, coach / player showed up. Okay, haters don't fit it, never showed up. Yeah, this is my story. Yeah, I'm from that Chi-Town dirt. I went from being broke to sleeping in Versace shirts. This is my story. Money, cars, bad. Oh, this is my story. And I'm sticking to it. 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 And I'm sticking to it.
Velcro, I'm sticking to it. Hey, I've been a victim to it. Your conversation is sanitation. Ain't no hesitating when I'm finna do it. I sniff it in, switch it up and try to hit a friend. Live it up and count my dividends. Whoa, like cinnamon. Whoa,
3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
And she looked at me like you ain't nothing but a star. I looked at her like this ain't nothing but a car. If you ride with them, you ain't going that far. But if you ride with me, crib so big, we can play hide and seek. You can confide in me, ride with me like I'm out the beat. Pilot seat, I need a co-pilot. Kiss her ass in both mouths. Yeah, I'm talking both lips. What you know about boat trips? Drop hat of the chocolate factory. Yeah, we did them 12 plays. And you know who you is, girl. We've been since the 12th grade.
This is my story. Yeah, I'm from that Chi-Town dirt. I went from being broke to sleeping in Versace shirts. This is my story. Money,
bed about 3. I'm killing it, guilty, no plea. I'm leaving out at 6 with a dime P. By 9 o'clock, we on round 3. I speak of rain, they say I'm crazy like they didn't know. See, I'm not crazy, but my talent, man, got bipolar. Say she a church girl, but man, she blowing holy smoke. Showed her the Jesus piece, now she got the Holy Ghost. They asked him in an interview, why do he love these girls? The only thing he had to say was motherfucking world. This is my story. Yeah, I'm from that Chi-Town dirt. I went from being broke to sleeping in Versace shirts. This is my story. Money, cars, bad war. This is my story. And I'm sticking to it. And I'm sticking to it. And I'm sticking to it.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. The final touches. Circle the most important parts. Put some stars. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute.
And I'm sticking to it.
Let's see if I got something for this last 30 seconds. Yeah, I do. Great story song.
Look how far we came. Look how far we came. Through the fire, I stood knowing we would reign.
10 seconds, 10 seconds.
Feels like yesterday when all this was a dream. Yesterday. Through these Maybach curtains, I see how life has changed.
The Maybach music.
Look how far I think I'm gonna dedicate this one to all the people that thought I wouldn't make it here.
How we feeling? How we feeling? Drop me one word to describe how you're feeling after getting your story written down on paper. What did that feel like for you? How was that? Do you feel like you got a little more to go? You feel like you've gotten it all out? Let me know in the chat box. How was that for you? Do you feel a little more confident about your story now? Let me know in the chat box how you're feeling about our stories. Somebody said, good. I didn't realize how long my story. Seriously, I've been through a lot. Look how far we came. Seriously, your story will show you, man. I didn't know that I had gotten this far, but look how much I've done. Look how much I've been through. Bossy said, more understanding about myself. Facts. Tim said, I got it out. Some of us just need to get that out. Cindy said, emotional. Okay. TB has more to write, and that's okay. Feel free. After this call, take your time to write more. This is just a framework for you all to get started. Some people said I got more to write, self-reflection, more to go, more to go. I love that. I'm only in the beginning. Literally, if you look at your story now and see how far you've come, drop a 1 if you realize you have so much farther to go. You ain't even touched the brink. You ain't even got started for real. Like, sometimes we're so hard on ourselves. Sometimes we're so tough on where we are. And it's like, dang, I did a lot to get here. Like, I worked to reach this point. Let me pat myself on the back a little bit. I did some things to get to where I am. So one thing I charge you all to, it looks like some people didn't finish. Tonight, give yourself the time to go ahead and complete your story. You owe that to yourself. And this is really some value. Drop a 4. Y'all see what I was saying? I told y'all I sat in that arena. I was almost in tears writing on my paper. I was like, no, I'll never speak down on storytelling again, bro. But what? I felt crazy. And to think I was going to be taking pictures. Crazy. It's all right. It takes lessons like this for us to understand. The next thing I want to talk about is when to tell your story. Let me get some guesses in the chat box. When might be a good time for you to tell your story? When can you utilize your story? When is a good time to let your story be known? Talk to me in the chat box. You all can guess. We're wrapping things up now. That was pretty much the bulk of things. Now I'm just going to give you some when to use it, a couple of reinforcements, and then we'll be able to go from there. When are some times that you can tell your story? Closing. Yes, Michael Wallace. PS3s are when I tell my story the most. Well, not the most, but that's when I sauce it. Oh, you mean to tell me your favorite part was digital marketing? Guess what? Who would have thought? When someone, y'all, who put my Neo in the chat box? When someone asks about what you do, facts. She gets it. Put her on a flyer, Ron. Put her on a flyer. She gets it. Yes. Okay. TV said opening. Yes. PS3 beginning of presentation. Facts. Let me ask y'all this. And it may not have happened to you just yet because y'all are, in your early stages. Y'all ever been to an event? Or maybe you've been at church. and you don't think somebody's about to call you up, and they start saying things like, yeah, and my brother came in, and we're going to have him say a few words, and you be praying to God it's not you. And guess who it is? It's you. And they have you come up. Let me tell y'all, whenever that happens to me, y'all know what I tell? Take a wild guess. Y'all know what they gonna get? What's up, everybody? They get my story. Okay, your story will save you. I've told my story with such confidence that people think I'm doing a speech, and I'm literally just telling my story. I haven't even gotten into any points, into any bullets, anything concrete. I'm just telling my story. But drop a 3 if you understand you have to be passionate about your story. The emotions you felt writing it on paper, that's the passion you have to tell it with as well. So we can use our stories for calls, events, when people ask what you do, for social media. And the most ignorant thing I've ever seen is people thinking their story is just about trading. Y'all realize that any entrepreneur, business owner, influencer, philanthropist has to master their story. The craziest thing I've seen is people think, oh, I mean, you're only going to tell your story for the trading part. What? Ask Z how many hats he wears in this industry. He thought he was a trader. He done became an event planner, a photographer, a B&B specialist, a travel agent. You come in this industry thinking you're going to do one thing and you become everything. Like, please don't limit yourself to just one box. Please. I'll tell you right now, you get to the top, you're going to be a master of everything. I've literally had people who left this industry say, man, doing that prepared me for everything. I'm like, wow. And you folded. Anyways, so make sure, my bad. I'm sorry. Make sure, we can edit that part out. Make sure that you understand when to tell your story. These are the best times to tell your story, but the one I want you all to master the most, right here. Whenever people ask you, what do you do? Drop a 3. Yeah, stay on the other side. When you switched up, stay over there. Stay over there. Drop a 3 if you've ever been asked, what do you do, and you weren't sure what to say. I'll drop my 3. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, what do I do? Sometimes people ask you what I do. Y'all know, I'll be like, dang, what don't I do? Like, I'll be stuck like Chuck. Okay? And shout out to our mentor, Mr. Matt Rosa. He gave us this beautiful line. Okay? So what is it that you do exactly? Oh, I'm partnering with an educational platform that teaches digital entrepreneurship and trading education. And from there, guess what you insert? Your story. Yeah, I'm from that Chi-Town dirt. I went from being broke to slinging Versace shirts. Yes, it's you. You put your story right there. Does this make sense? Before, if this makes sense, write that down on your paper. Whenever somebody asks, well, what is it that you do? Why do you still do that thing? Does it really work? Yes, and here's why. Story. Just like that. Is this making sense? All right. The last thing I want us to cover, we're doing very well on time. The last thing I want you all to know is that less is more. You got a lot of things written on your paper. Drop a 5. You have a lot of things on your paper right now. You may be on page 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? When people ask for your story, they want your story, not a dissertation, not the book, not the novel, not the encyclopedia, just your story. Okay? Some of us on here, you're passionate, and I love that. I really do love that about you. We're going to have to concise your story into a 1-minute and a 3-minute version. Okay? Y'all realize that this is like the microwave era? Social media right now wants everything fast. So if your story is anything longer than a minute, it's really going to be tough to hold people's attention. On calls and trainings, you can do the 3-minute story. That's perfectly fine. But when you're doing things for social media, you really want to keep it around 1. Does that make sense? Okay, you want to practice and master both versions. Master the 1-minute version of your story and the 3-minute version of your story. You're going to need both. One thing I do, I almost have the 4 parts compartmentalized in my mind, and I have bullets under each one. And when I know it's a quick story, I may give it 1 bullet. I'll be like, okay, now I live a lifestyle I don't need a vacation from. Thank you all for having me. But when I know I got some more time, I'll be like, well, actually, I used to do what I didn't want to do every single day. Now I do more of what I want to do and less of what I'm told to do. I realized that I was in control of my time. Like, I know when I can give it a little bit more and I go a little bit further into my bullets. But if I don't have much time, if I'm doing my 1-minute version, I'll probably do 1 bullet from each point. That's just a little gem that I use when I'm telling my story. Focus on the pain points. Okay, that number 3, when you start telling what had to change, if you skip components of any parts of your story, tell the pain point. No matter what portion of my story I'm doing, I always say, yeah, there was just something about working 5 days for 48 hours of freedom on the weekends that didn't cut for me. Boom! If they didn't catch nothing else, they know that I want my time. You got no matter what you skip out on your story, hit the pain point, because that's what people are going to remember the most. For 3 of that makes sense. All right? We're doing well. Y'all want to hear a story? know when you're at church and they call on you and you don't know they're gonna call on you? That's what just happened. Y'all want to hear a story? Drop a 5 in the chat if you want to hear a story. Let me know. Y'all want to hear a story? All right. I'll unshare my screen and then I'll let Z give his story. We'll give him about 2 minutes to get his words together. Actually, 10 seconds because, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Coming to the stand, we're going to have a young man, the original Star Diamond, all the way from Richmond, BA, coming to us live. He's going to give us a little bit about his journey, his story, how he got to where he is. He's coming up next in Miami, Florida. He's going to be a keynote speaker, giving us an incredible topic about how we can blank, because I ain't going to ruin that for y'all. But coming to the stage live, none other than the one and only, the man, the myth. Stand to your feet. Help me make some noise and go crazy, beyond crazy. For the first Star Diamond in the United States, the original to do it, the man with the plan, none other than the Z Tania. All right, y'all go crazy, and then I'm gonna pass it over to him. All right, and it's on you.
Yo, you know what's so crazy? When T was like, write down your story, I was really over here, like, really writing it down. And like when I said in the chat, look how far we've come, I really had to realize that because it's crazy. It's really, really crazy. But I gotta give it back before I get into my story. I gotta give it back to Tia because we are at the conclusion of this call. Tia didn't have to do this. She really put this together for us. So really give it back to her. Put some hearts in the chat for DT at Bolden. And if you were inspired by her story in any form or fashion, drop a 3 in the chat. Because now I'm gonna get into my story. You guys know my name, but I'll tell you guys my name. My name is Zion, right? 25 years young. Been doing this business for about 5 years now, and it's crazy when I like learn from so many people and they say your life changes in moments, and that's literally my story. Like my story is full of life changing moments, for real. Because when I first started this business in 2019, um, that moment was just a moment in itself. Getting started, that was a moment, right? But when I just think about where I'm from the inner cities of Danbury, Connecticut, where your choices are limited, so you better make the right choices, right? A lot of us may come from similar backgrounds where you only got a few things that you can do to really make it out from where you're from, right? I know my brother Ron. I know where you from, bro. It's only a couple things you can do, bro, to make it out. Tia, I know where you from. It's only a couple things you could do to really make it out. And when I got introduced to this business, I moved to Virginia in 2017. I graduated from high school. I played, sports my entire life. Basketball was like my favorite thing to do. My father, shout out to him. He had a full scholarship to go to, Rutgers University to play D1 basketball. But God said, you don't want to obey me? I'm going to show you why you should obey me. So my father ended up playing basketball one summer and tore his ACL when God told him not to, right? You want to be a knucklehead? I'm going to show you what's on the other side. So he ended up tearing his ACL. And, for me, that kind of was like, my father's not doing it anymore. What do I do next? Right? Because I wanted to follow in my father's footsteps. He had really big dreams to go play in the NBA. And it was there, y'all. It was there. But, things change, things happen. So you have to learn how to adjust in life and in this business. Leaders know how to adjust, right? As a leader, you need to know how to adjust. And that's what this journey is going to be about. Who can adjust the most and who can succeed the most? That's it. Right. So 2019, after I graduated high school, 2 years later, 2019, I got started in this business, but then I also became a father as well. Any parents want to call, drop a 1 in the chat. It's so crazy. I'm telling my story right now. I told my story yesterday at the event too. It's just crazy, right? But 2019, I became a father, and that was another life changing moment, right? So far, how many life changing moments have I had so far? Let me see if y'all paying attention in the chat. How many life changing moments have I had? 2. 4. Okay. So see, Jarnika, you picking some stuff up. That's good. That's good. Don't say what they were. Just keep them as a mental note, right? Somebody said 5, right? So yes, it's moments within the moments. Absolutely, right? So 2019 became a father, and you know, at that time of my life, I was 19 years old. I was a knucklehead. I was running the streets, not being, not a lick of productive in my life. Just was doing life just to do it, right? Didn't have no sense of direction. Wasn't listening to no mentorship. Wasn't listening to the right people. Was going down a very, 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 very wrong path in my life, for real. Um, Crazy, right? And fast forward a year later, COVID hit the United States, and for a lot of people, at that moment, you really thought like life was over. I don't know if anybody felt like that on this call. If you didn't have no other source of income or way of making money online, or you know how to do e-commerce, drop shipping, whatever, like any way to make money online, you felt that life was literally done because most people, their life is evolved around what? The job. The clothes you wear are because of your job. The house you have is because of your job. The phone you use to make money now is because of your job. So I said, if I don't have a job, if I don't have no source of income, I literally have no way to do anything. And at that moment in my life, I understood, listen, man, if you got one source of income, you close to none. You might as well say you got zero for real. Because when you get paid, you got to pay the bills. So you really back at ground zero. Let's be honest. Right. So luckily, man, by the grace of God, in high school, I was a really, really outgoing individual. So I had a lot of friends, right? And shout out to my guy Justin. You know, he's currently not doing this business with me anymore. But I have to always give it back to him because if it wasn't for Justin, I wouldn't be where I am right now. He introduced me to Eovia, right, back in 2019. And it's just crazy, bro, how life really works. When you ask for something, you really do receive it because God hears you. I asked him for a solution and he gave me Justin, and Justin had the solution that I needed. You see how that works? Sometimes people have what you need. You just got to go seek it, right? So 2020, I got started, 2019, I got started in the business. 2020, I actually took it full time serious. And I went to my first ever event, Houston, Texas. Some of you guys may know what that was. You may have been there, you may have heard about it, you may have seen it, right? But my life changed when I walked into that room because I seen people who looked like me, younger than me, older than me, that were achieving a very, very high level of success. Can you imagine, right? And income claims on this call, but it is what it is. Could you imagine seeing somebody who's 18 making six figures, doing exactly what you're doing? Well, like what type of inspiration would that bring you right now? 18, 19, 20, 21, people making six, seven figures doing the same business that you're doing. I said, oh nah, whatever they doing, I'm gonna do. So I'm sitting in the back of the room at that event, and I said, whatever I have to do to get to that point, I'm willing to do it. Fast forward 8 months into the business in 2020, I was a platinum 2000 at the time, making $2,000 a month. 8 months, mind you. What happened in 2020? What happened in 2020? Talk to me, fam. What part of my story am I at right now? What happened in 2020? COVID. My back was literally against the wall, but now I go from not having no income to taking this business serious to impacting other people making $2,000 a month now. So I said, okay, if I can do this, where do I see myself going? I see myself literally not having to worry about money anymore, not having to worry about how am I going to put food on the table for my son anymore. And I said at that current moment, if I feel like this, how many other people can I help feel the same way? Because remember this, it's not about what you do for yourself, it's about what can you do for other people. How can you make other people feel? You feel so good about this business, guess what? You help somebody else feel good about the business, it will make you feel better. Everybody want to say I'm a six-figure trader or I'm a successful trader. Go create one. I'm gonna be honest. It's people that's on my team right now that make more money than me trading. I'm gonna keep it real. But you know what that does? You know what that shows me? I took this serious and impacted somebody else's life. So for you, you may ask yourself, what is it that I want to do with this business? Impact yourself so you can impact the next person. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my story.
Wow. Can we get some love in the chat box for Z's story? Woo! Did y'all feel something inside of that story? Like when it was told, did y'all feel it? Like y'all thought y'all knew him, but now you know. It's different. Okay, if you ever don't know, one story you need to master is your mentors. The next story you need to master is your mentor's mentor. And we're gonna get into that another day. But the last thing, y'all promised me if I gave y'all this, Nia said you need to ask Star Darn. She said put some respect on it, Z. I'm with her when she right. All right. But last thing, I told y'all if I gave y'all this, y'all were gonna give it back to me. Can we drop some fours if we can still hold to that? Can we still agree? I don't know. All right. You know, there's always action behind the task. So action task this week for week 2 of the focus group. The first thing I need you all to do is post your story. Whether it's a video, reel, one-on-one, whether you have somebody record you, maybe at a coffee shop, or whether you just do it with a ring light in your room. I need your story not only posted, but pinned on your platform. I had a young lady tell me, she said, yeah, I don't really know how everything works, but I saw that in your story that you was an engineer before, and only because it's pinned on my profile. People will creep on you before they ever ask you a single question. So have your story posted and pinned. When you post it, tag as many people in the focus group as possible. And let's show love under each other's story on social media. Look, sometimes all we got is us. So we need to go crazy under each other's stories. You can title it A Day in the Life of Nia. Welcome to Sasha's life. Who is Zion Latham? Learning a little bit more about Ron Ford. You can title it as you like, but everybody in this focus group needs to have their story posted and pinned. If you did one before, do it again. Drop a 5 if you understand your story is not the same as it was the first time you told it. Fun fact. Y'all saw my 2021 story, you'd be like, who is she? I didn't meet her. Okay, I'm gonna send it to some of y'all just so you can see it. All right. Number 2, I need you all to share your story at least 3 times this week. Okay, by the end of tonight, you need to have in the chat box whether you're going to share it on Instagram live with somebody, whether you're going to share it when you open a call, whether you're going to share it while you're running a call, whether you're going to share it during a presentation, whether you're sharing it during a PS3, whether you're sharing it during a training, or whether you're at a meetup and opening the room. Tell us when you're going to share your story, and when you share it, let the focus group know. What's up, y'all? Just shared my story. It felt amazing. Just shared my story. I added a little bit to the pain point. Just shared my story. I made sure to go crazy at the end. Just shared my story. I shortened the background. Give us your story so we can understand that you're applying this information for the task for this week. You're going to become more and more confident. Drop a 3 if you understand. Every time you tell the story, it's going to get better. The first one going to be a little shaky. And I was doing it, but I didn't know what I was doing. And by the last time, it's going to be, I knew this was for me. That's why I started doing it. Some people say that they're not doing this because they don't have the money. I say I'm doing this because I don't have the money. You have to decide which person you are. Like, it gets better every single time. So the more reps that you get with telling your story, repetition is the mother of all learning. Keep telling it and it'll keep getting better. Last but not least, make sure you master both versions. Okay, understand how to get that 1-minute version in and out as quick as possible. Then own your 3-minute version to utilize as well. If everything makes sense, drop me a 555. Z, thank you so much for having me on this training. It's a pleasure running with you, bro. It's a pleasure running alongside you. It's a pleasure being a part of something great. I love this focus group. I love the number of queens y'all have in here. I love the excitement, the intensity, the energy. I'm excited to see you all's story. If you post your story and I don't comment, send it to me directly. Hey, Tia, here's my story. You said if you gave this, I was going to give it back, and here I'm giving it back. Call me out. Act me under the story. Here's mine. Like, call me out, please. My social media is like a circus. So call me out. And I'm going to make sure that you all have everything you need to take things farther than ever. Z, thank you for being who you are, bro. I'll never undermine your leadership. I'll never take lightly what you've done for us. This is the conclusion of week 2. Go into the focus group Telegram. Tell them, look how far we came, because this is exactly where we're going. I love y'all. I see y'all at the Dream chaser.